All right, Jose?
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, I want to talk about something that I really wish I didn't have to. But leadership isn't just about celebrating our successes. It's also about having the courage to address what's not working. And what's not working, Councilmember Andrew Sandoval, is the way your conduct off this dais, on social media, and other public bodies, and in other communities has reflected on the city of Salinas. We all ran for office to serve, to make our city stronger, to bring people together to build a better future. And we all know that disagreement is a part of democracy. But what we've seen from you on social media, in public meetings, and through your actions with other agencies has repeatedly crossed the line from disagreement to dysfunction. Your actions build a pattern, one of hostility, of unnecessary conflict, and of personal attacks that have extended far beyond healthy disagreement. You filed FPPC complaints and Public Records Act requests, not only against your fellow city council members on this dais, but also against other elected officials in other cities and other counties, against leaders of other educational institutions, of college foundations, of private citizens, and agencies throughout the region, including the city of Salinas, claiming it's in the name of justice. But justice without discernment quickly turns into disruption. Every one of those filings takes time. The time of staff who could be helping families find housing, process permits for small businesses, fixing streets, serving our residents. Instead, they're forced to divert their energy toward responding towards his grievances. So I have to ask, when those complaints target your own city, your fellow city council members, your regional partners, what are you hoping to achieve? Because from where I sit, it's not accountability that's being advanced, it's division, and your actions don't build trust, they erode it. And there are real-world consequences to that erosion of trust. You said recently at a city council meeting that you were frustrated that your funding request was the only one denied at the transportation agency for Monterey County. And I understand your frustration, but I also can't ignore the bigger picture, that the relationships we've built with our partners across the region are strained because of the tone and tactics you've chosen. Now, I can't say for certain why that decision was made, but I can say this. When you go around the region attacking elected officials, filing complaints against partner agencies, and creating conflict where there should be collaboration, it damages our credibility. It makes it harder for Salinas to earn the trust, the respect, and the cooperation of other cities in the county on regional issues. Salinas is the largest city in the Tri-County area, and even with the weighted vote on TAMZ, you've damaged relationships and cannot secure votes on these regional bodies, rendering you an ineffective representative. And when Salinas loses out on $1 million in funding because of damaged trust, damaged relationships, that's no longer a personal issue. When that happens, the city of Salinas, not just you, pays the price. And that's not just unfortunate, that's unacceptable. The same goes for your conduct on social media. You have repeatedly taken city matters, issues that should be addressed on this dais, and use them as content for online taunts, insults, and personal attacks. Recently, you went so far as to create your own Facebook group, quote unquote, Salinas Crime Watchouts. In its About section, you mock and ridicule other community watch pages with clown emojis and a long list of grievances. You deride those groups as dictators and as guardians of the status quo, and even celebrate being banned from them as if it were some kind of badge of honor. So again, I have to ask, how does this help anyone? How does mocking Salinas residents, people who are genuinely concerned about neighborhood safety, serve this community? And it's not just about social media groups. You also filed a formal FPPC complaint against a private citizen, Ms. Audrey Wardwell, someone who is not an elected or appointed official, but simply a citizen expressing her opinions about government. She has the right to do that. That's the essence of democracy. Targeting a private citizen because she criticized you is not just inappropriate, it's dangerous. You later issued a public apology, but a public apology doesn't erase the harm or the message that it sends. That disagreeing with an elected official might come with personal consequences. That's not how public service works. And yet this pattern continues. In recent weeks, you posted about what you called the quote, Potatogate, echoing conspiracy theories around an ongoing petition investigation. one that's actually being handled appropriately by the district attorney's office. The difference, Councilmember Sandoval, is that when the DA's office investigates, they are doing their job under the law. They have the authority to make inquiries and gather facts. When you were served with recall papers last Halloween, you and some of your supporters reportedly went door to door demanding to know why people signed the petition to recall you, not as investigators, but as subjects of that recall. That's intimidation, plain and simple. So to now act as though you care about the integrity of petition processes when you once sought to silence your own critics by showing up at their homes, it's not accountability, it's hypocrisy. And recently you made a video saying that you are not afraid of being censured, that only the people of District 5 can remove you, and that's 100% true. But your behavior after the recall effort and your actions toward private citizens show that you are willing to use your position to go after people when they disagree with you. That's not the kind of representation the residents of North Salinas and District 5 deserve. And it's part of a broader, troubling pattern, one that mirrors behaviors we've seen on the national stage. Because what happens when certain leaders are criticized? They retaliate. They post about their critics. They mock them online. They taunt them publicly. They call them names. They frame themselves as victims of witch hunts or for speaking their truth. And when social media platforms or communities hold them accountable, they simply create their own echo chambers, designed to control the narrative rather than engage in dialogue. This isn't courage. It's not transparency. It's not leadership. It's the same brand of chaos that tears trust apart and makes everything about the person instead of the people. As City Council member, you are expected to uphold a higher standard, to model civility, respect, and integrity even when you disagree. But your social media becomes a running commentary of anger and accusation. When post after post targets your fellow City Council members, our mayor, other elected officials, and our regional partners, and everything ranging from healthcare to higher education, it becomes a spectacle, not public service. This behavior is not just unbecoming of an elected official, it's reckless. Because when you post about city business and challenge your fellow City Council members to engage, even with a simple like or comment, you risk violating the Brown Act. You know this, you were at the same trainings we were. And you expose the city of Salinas, your own city, to potential litigation and liability. You know that we can't respond to your Facebook posts. You know we need to have those conversations in a public meeting compliant with the law. Again, that's not leadership, that's recklessness. No one sitting up here proverbially fears you. But what everyone up here does fear is that the erosion of trust in local government that comes from this kind of behavior, that kind that turns serious work into political theater. If a teenager acted the way you do online, the taunting, the name calling, the personal attacks, we'd call it bullying. If a 10-year-old acted this way, it would not go unaddressed. Yet here I am, the youngest City Council member on this dais, having to ask a grown man, an elected official, to show the same restraint that we expect from children. You often speak about collaboration, about unity, and olive branches. But collaboration requires trust. And trust can't exist when you keep breaking it. When you placed yourself for appointment on the executive committee of the Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority earlier this year without first consulting your fellow city council members, Councilmember De La Rosa and myself, even when you were told and expected to do so by the agency, that was not collaboration. That was self-interest, and yet you still want to talk about wanting to work together. And it's part of a larger pattern with your actions and behavior, one that continues to prioritize personal battles over actual public service. If you have disagreements with us, your fellow elected city council members, there's actually an appropriate place to have those discussions and disagreements. It's right here on this dais, in a meeting that's open, that's public, that's agendized, that's recorded, and accessible to every resident in this city. This is where governance happens. This is where leadership happens. This is where accountability happens. Not on Facebook, not on Instagram, not on TikTok, right here in this chamber in front of the people that we serve. Imagine what could happen if you put as much effort into solving problems as you do into posting about them. Imagine what progress we could make if the same drive for attention was directed towards results. We are at a point in this city where we're finally seeing momentum, progress on housing, investment in small businesses, attention to economic development, and renewed collaboration with our regional partners. But every time we get pulled back into personal disputes and public spectacles, that progress stalls. So I'm asking you to pause, to think before posting, before filing, before acting. Ask yourself, is this helping the residents of District 5 in North Salinas? Is this moving Salinas forward? Because right now your behavior isn't helping. It's hurting. It's hurting our city. It's hurting our reputation. It's hurting our collective ability to get things done. Right now, not only North Salinas residents in District 5, but all Salinas residents throughout the city, the people who sent every single one of us here to do this work, need us to help them, not fight each other. You can do better. District 5 deserves better. North Salinas deserves better. Salinas deserves better. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right, Margaret.